Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC and Bellator discussion, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and joining me this week is the man with the keys to victory, John Keys.
You forgot my name. Okay, you know that.
No, I'm switching the camera. I promise I was switching the camera.
Hello, Combat Sports Talk world. This is John Keys. Welcome to the first week in August, aka Level 8 Jumanji. I hope you got your Apocalypse Bingo going. I have Volcano Sharks going. So,
Okay,
just so you know.
so there's volcano sharks, but there was something that was like zombie ants or something like that.
No, it's cannibal ants out of a
Cannibal
nuclear
ants.
reactor. Yeah. I was like, who? Wait a minute. Okay, are they
Nuclear
eating
cannibal
each
ants.
other or are they
Yeah.
eating us? Okay, that's the
Yes.
question.
See, the
You
thing
know?
is that by definition, a cannibal has to eat its own kind, right? So
Yeah,
if an ant eats us, it's not cannibal; it's just carnivore, right?
yeah.
Humantricide. I don't know what it's called.
I don't know. I just don't want to be around it. Where did they say it was coming? Was it coming out of Chernobyl?
I think it was coming out of Chernobyl. Yeah. So we got some time.
Yeah, we got a minute.
So normally we are a squad of 4, but KC is currently indisposed with other activities going on. Not trying to get weird with the explanation. I just don't know if you want me to tell folks what he's doing. So KC is indisposed, and Coach George G Money Stallworth, he coaches on Tuesday nights, and we're recording on a Tuesday night instead of a Monday night. So he is en route. We hope to have him on the show at some point during the recording. So just hang in there, okay?
Yeah, he's abusing students right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kicking legs, man, right now. But he's not in the audience like KC was last week,
Yeah.
right?
Shooting hooky.
Shooting hooky. Is that a thing? Is that what is
That's
shooting
still a
hooky?
thing.
No.
What?
Is the phrase
No,
shooting hooky? It's playing hooky.
No, it's shooting hooky too.
It's not.
It's also
It's not shooting hooky. That
It's
that must
shooting
be that must be from Kentucky.
Oh, hey, watch him out. Okay, good. It's shooting hooky. That's
Nobody
what it
shoots
is.
hooky. So for those of you who are watching right now, you can chat with us by typing messages in the chat box underneath this video. Is it playing hooky, or is it incorrect shooting hooky?
Oh, or is it just Ryan needing to be right tonight?
No,
That's all that is.
Ryan
I
is
think
usually right. I think those words in the thesaurus are synonyms, Ryan and right. I just want to
think they're not.
I just want to get this ready for you when the comments start coming in saying that it's playing hooky. This one right here. Just need to. I'm gonna have it ready. I'm not gonna play the whole clip because I just want you to know what's waiting for you.
All right, so I am looking at the chat. I'm going to say hello.
All right.
And just to let people know I am here. And if y'all want to chat with me, I will do my best to keep my eye on it. And, we'll just work from there.
All right. There you go. So let's get into it. The top story of the day, we call it the headliner. The headliner, this is the top story that I want to talk about, and that is, are you ready for it? The return of the Eagle. That's right. Khabib Nurmagomedov is coming back. He is going to get ready to fight Justin Gaethje in October. I believe it's October 24th. The October 24th, he's going to fight for the title. All right. So, by the way, before we get into some more of that, we've got some comments coming in. I want to go ahead, Mr. John Keys, and let you know that indeed Tim Krause is out there, and he's saying that it's playing hooky. This is way easier than the game you used to make me play. Well, that's right. It's playing hooky. All right. Sonia Gutierrez says she's heard it both ways. I don't know how you've heard it. She's heard it both ways because she knows you and she knows you say it wrong.
No, that's bull cookies. Okay, I'm not
That's
trying
bull
to
cookies.
have this.
See, look at that. You
I'm
just
not
have
trying
your
to hear
own
this.
slang.
No, I have to edit it because we're a family show,
There we go.
and I just have to do it like that. So
Okay. All right. Well, so Daniel Cormier says he was taken aback by Khabib's return at UFC 254. Of course, what we know is Khabib Nurmagomedov. He is known as the Eagle and the 155-pound 28-0 champion
yes,
of the UFC lightweight division. And
uh,
his go ahead.
I was just going to agree with everything you said. Yes, he's the god of fight in the 155 division.
So his father passed away recently, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, who is kind of the bedrock of Khabib Nurmagomedov's fight team. That his father and coach basically got Dagestan on the map when it comes to fighting, and so everyone really thought that Khabib Nurmagomedov was not going to come back so soon. That he was going to take some time to grieve his father. That we may not see him back in 2020, but indeed he is coming back in October, ready to fight for the title, go for his quest of 29-0.
I understand it. Uh, it's hard to lose a parent, and I feel for this man. I think he's coming in here totally to honor his father, and so we may see possibly the best version of Habib if we haven't seen it already. We may see his Ultra Instinct version of Habib, and I feel for Justin Gaethje. He's gonna have to put a fight on now. If he thought he had a fight beforehand, he may really have a fight now, and it might be a fight that he can't lose. He can't win. No matter what he does.
So people are saying that typically a fight camp is 8 weeks, and we are right at that 8 week mark right now for a little less than 8 weeks for this fight. And so what makes this a challenge is that this is kind of late to get into a fight camp for a champion fighting for his legacy. So, do you have any concerns that Habib starting his fight camp as late as he is, that it's going to affect his performance against Justin Gaethje?
I don't think so. Um, One thing about Habib, he has always been professional. Okay, he is championship material. And when I say championship material, he knows how to carry himself as a champion. He knows what it takes to be a champion. He fights like a champion. He doesn't play. He doesn't fight safe. Whereas he's just fighting for points. He's going in there to fight. And so I think one thing about Habib, I've never seen him out of shape. I've never really seen him out of shape. So I think that he has possibly stayed in shape, even at the loss of his father. I think he's still still at that level that he could just simply get back into a solid training camp and be right back at it.
Well, I think I think that's probably likely. Interesting thing, Joe Rogan has seen Habib's competitor Justin Gaethje in camp, and he was raving about it on Twitter, and then Habib responded,
Oh,
and so Habib says Justin is a very nice guy and good opponent for me, but when the octagon close, he has to be ready for not only a boxing match. I'm not Dustin or Tony. I will take him to the deepest ocean and drown him, inshallah.
and he will do that. He will absolutely do that. He has told him his game plan, and everybody can put dollars to donuts. He's going to do exactly that. He's going to drag him out into the deepest part of the ocean, and he's going to have him. We call him the Eagle, but we really should be calling him the Meg, really, because he's just a killer, dude. I mean, that man is a he's a it is hard pressed to find a fighter in recent memory that is a force of nature like Habib, except
John
for
Jones.
George St. Pierre.
John Jones.
Now, there's a difference there, and we'll get to John Jones later because I've done seen the run sheet. Well, we got plenty of time for John Jones, but you know, I'm interested because I have heard that he's going to do two more fights.
That's what he says. He's going to retire at 30-0.
Yes, and he's already asked for his 30th match.
So that's the thing for the last one is if he gets past Justin Gaethje, Kevin Lee, who's a contender at 155 pounds, says that he wants to help George St. Pierre get ready for Khabib, that he's going to be in his corner. Because remember, Kevin Lee was struggling, and then he decided to start training at TriStar, which is the home gym of George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre being, arguably, if we're going to talk about the pantheon of people who are the greatest MMA fighters in the UFC of all time, George St. Pierre has to be in that conversation.
And very high in that conversation as well.
Yes. So for Khabib Nurmagomedov, for his legacy to be complete, he has to win against Justin Gaethje, find a way to get George St. Pierre back into the octagon, and then win that fight. And if he does,
if Khabib, or some people will say when Khabib beats Justin Gaethje, I think that is everything I think that's the last achievement you need to unlock the dream match against George St. Pierre.
What is this, Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
Exactly. Actually, I've been watching promos, videos for UFC 4. They have a Kumite venue there. It's crazy as heck. It's got Mortal Kombat sounds and everything. That's a different story for a different day, people. Just go to YouTube, look up UFC 4. You'll love it. I promise you. Okay,
so, but I guess the question is the talk about GSP a distraction, and are we looking past Justin Gaethje, who is legitimately the #1 contender for this title?
No and no. It's not a distraction, and I'm sure not looking past Justin Gaethje, because every time people have looked past Justin Gaethje, he brings you back into focus. Say, hey, I'm still here, and he's on the ground. Okay, that's what Justin Gaethje does. I'm not putting anything past him. I just know that this is going to be a really strong fight. It could be possibly our next contender for fight of the year.
All right, and there you have it. So that is the headliner. Let's go into the official decision. We had fights on Saturday night. We're going to talk about it in the official decision. All right, this is the official decision, and we had fights on Saturday night. It was UFC Fight Night Brunson versus Shahbazyan. This was August 1st, 2020 at the UFC Apex Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. We were scheduled for 5 fights, but we only got 4 fights. And I was hoping that George Stallworth would be here by now, because he's real big on Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, of course, is a hometown hero, fights down in the DFW area. And he was scheduled to fight on what we're calling UFC Vegas 5 against Trevin Giles. But Trevin Giles passed out, fainted on the way to the ring, and the fight got canceled. Or was it on the way to way to weigh-ins?
It was right there at the ramp. He fainted right at the ramp to go to the ring. And they were like, nope. We're good. And you could see his corner trying to argue with the officials, like, he's okay, but he was still out. Okay, so they're like, no, we're good on this.
So the reason why I'm asking is when he actually passed out, and we'll get to it later, because we know Kevin Holland is going to be fighting this Saturday in the Apex Center. Yeah. But there was confusion as to whether or not Ed Herman could come in and fight on this card, because Ed Herman, he was supposed to fight on this card as well, but his opponent came down with COVID-19, tested positive once he got to Vegas. So his fight got canceled. Of course, Kevin Holland's fight got canceled. So the obvious thing for 2 guys in the same weight class, you want to fight? Yeah. And we'll talk about a little bit later why that fight didn't happen. Okay. Lando Venata was defeated by Bobby Green via unanimous decision. Vicente Luque defeated Randy Brown via knockout in round 2. We had in the co-main event, JoJo Calderwood defeated by Jennifer Maia with an armbar that, I mean, she worked it, man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Um, why? I was expecting a strikers match. I think I did say that Jennifer Maia last week was going to work her jiu-jitsu on JoJo, but all roads pointed to a striker match. Most of her fights were won by strikes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it was really interesting to see the fight start off, and it was good commentary between Paul Felder and I think it was who else was at ringside? Paul Felder and
Was it Hardy this week?
no, it wasn't. It was
No. Let me.
Paul Felder and Dominic Cruz. There we go.
Yeah.
Why can't I remember? It was Dominic Cruz and Paul Felder, and what they were really showing is this is what Muay Thai looks like versus a boxer.
Mhm.
Because Jennifer Maia is a boxer, JoJo Calderwood is a Muay Thai, and so what they were talking about is JoJo or Joanne Calderwood doesn't move her head off the center line. She is straight.
Not.
Whereas you saw Maia constantly shifting, constantly moving her off the center line, moving her head, and it made her really hard to hit. But
Yeah.
it was a good fight until it went to the ground, and it was JoJo who took Maia to the ground. I don't know why she did that, because Jennifer Maia her last name is Maia. If your last name is Maia, the BJJ has to be good.
Yeah. There's just certain names.
This is your This is your Smuckers, your Smuckers commercial there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just certain names that you just don't go to the ground with.
Yeah.
Gracie, Maya, Noguera.
Right.
Even if they're not even related to each other, you're like, I don't want to take the chance.
Don't want to take the chance. Especially if they're from Brazil. They're gonna have something.
I think they teach. I think they teach like either Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Vale Tudo in like grade school. I think it's like a core curriculum for them.
We should look it up and see, because China, their national martial art is Tai Chi, right? Like, it is the official art of China, and so I wonder if Brazil doesn't have kind of the same thing with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I perhaps they don't, because I would assume that they didn't, but they should. Dana White says Jennifer Maia is going to get the next title shot versus Valentina Shevchenko. What is your reaction to that? You've got Valentina Shevchenko, who is literally head and shoulders above the competition. Jennifer Maia looked great on Saturday night. That could be a great fight.
It'll be a great fight, and I do see Jennifer Maia taking a beating on that one, a severe beating, just for the simple fact that Shevchenko is a very complete fighter. I don't think Maia would have all the answers for Shevchenko, and I'm saying that early without her going through a proper training camp or seeing her weigh in. But at this point, if she was to fight next week, I would not. Shevchenko would be a maul. Shevchenko would maul Maia.
Right.
In many ways, I've seen GSP maul fighters all the time, because that's who she reminds me of as far as her pace, her style. It just looks like GSP all over again.
So Valentina Shevchenko is the second coming of GSP. What you're saying?
Ooh, I could take that. I can believe that.
No.
I could say that. I can say that with confidence.
I
so?
I don't think so. And the reason
so?
why is because Valentina Shevchenko is as great as she is, and as dominant as she is, she cannot take the fight wherever she wants, like George St. Pierre could.
Well, George St. Pierre couldn't do it at the beginning either.
No. He could. He absolutely could.
Not in the beginning. He was a Kyokushin fighter in the beginning, and he later learned wrestling. Okay, but
you're talking about Valentina Shevchenko, who now has defended her title 3-4 times.
Yeah,
we're not at the beginning of the career of Valentina Shevchenko.
Okay, so
if you're comparing the beginning of George St. Pierre's career to the
Okay,
current
so
career of
let's
Valentina Shevchenko, then I have proven my point.
okay. No, okay, so let's put GSP at his we'll say fourth title reign and see where he was who he was fighting, and I could tell you from there if he was where he was as far as fighting
He was
skill.
he
Okay.
was at that point he was taking the fight to the ground. He
And
was
not
mauling
maybe
dudes.
because he learned wrestling midway through his championship run, if I remember correctly.
I, I
He
just
learned
rem-
that
I
wrestling.
just remember that George St. Pierre was offered an opportunity to wrestle with the Canadian wrestling team because he was that good.
Yes, yes, and I believe that was after after Matt Serra. That was the beginning of the second run, and I want to say, was it after BJ Penn? It
Well,
might have been
because
after BJ Penn.
I can tell you that I can tell you exactly where I was when I saw the BJ Penn George St. Pierre fight because BJ
Mm,
Penn broke George St. Pierre's nose in the very beginning of the fight. And George St.
right.
Pierre had to face adversity for the entire fight. And he took BJ Penn down so many times in the fourth and fifth round that that's what won him the fight. So he was
And
a
it might have
wrestler
been
at that
around
point.
It might have been around then. Yes.
So he was a wrestler at that point.
And that was his let's see here. One, two, three, four, fifth. That was around his fifth title defense.
So there you go.
So we'll see. We will see. Okay, let's see where she's sitting at her fifth title defense. If she ain't shooting in for the double leg and putting people on the ground, then yes, I will
All right.
concede to Ryan Smith
I
that Ryan Smith was right today.
I've got a crown a crow side effect. Side effect. What am I saying? A crow sound effect. There you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, and the last fight,
Uh-huh.
the main event of the evening, Derek Brunson versus Edmund Shahbazyan. Now, Shahbazyan was coming in as a super hype train fighter. Everybody's on this dude. He came in as a minus 300 against Derek Brunson.
Okay, so this makes me wonder why. Is it because of who manages him? Possibly.
Well, because it's
Because
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, it's Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is his manager. Was she? I mean, she did a good job hyping this guy up. The guy has skill. Don't
He
knock
had
it.
some. He
has
had some
skill.
highlight knockouts.
Yes.
He hasn't got. He's only been out of the first round one time, and I think he's in his
Right.
8th fight or 9th fight or something like that. He was undefeated. I mean, he's got a lot of momentum. He's got a lot of star power behind him. But you should have knew that something was coming when you saw who else was in his corner. And we're talking about Coach Edmund.
Yes. Edmund Targaryen.
Something like that. It's like
Yeah.
Targaryen. Anyway, we know that at that point, you should know that he might look good, but he may not be good. And that's what we found out. Now I'm making jokes here.
Yeah.
To be honest, Shahbazyan was whooping up on Brunson,
Yeah.
especially in the second round before it all went downhill. But he was landing the better strikes, the heavier strikes. The second round, the leg kicks to the body were like chopping wood.
There was a lot of pie-out to it.
Kapayao.
Sorry.
Yes,
Kapayao.
not just payao. Those are like leg kicks. Those body kicks were kapayao.
But after I don't know, was it a adrenaline dump in round 3? I mean, what happened?
Well, so what happens is he begins to gas,
Uh-huh.
and then Brunson gets just a huge strike, takes him down, and then the ground and pound starts. As the second round is ending, Brunson postures up and just drops a boom, boom, 1-2 right on the chin of Shahbazyan, and dude was out cold.
And we don't know if it was either the horn that woke him up or was it a follow-up punch. That
We don't know. But what ended up happening is the ground and pound was brutal. Got it. an elbow cut his eye. Shahbazyan was definitely out on his feet as he walked back to sit down. And Herb Dean saw this. Herb Dean saw this and was like, is he still going to fight? And they're like, yeah, he's still going to fight. Herb Dean, at the beginning of the third round, stops the fight, calls the doctor in.
Mm-hmm.
And Herb's like, is this guy able to fight? And the doctor's sitting there talking to him. Dana White is fuming because he's like, listen, you don't start the third round and give a guy an opportunity to recover if he's rocked. You either stop the fight or you let the fight go. You get 1 minute between rounds. And by calling the doctor into the ring at the start of the third round, you're actually giving this guy more time to recover and taking off the heat that Derek Brunson had. Like, Derek Brunson was in the flow. He was in the matrix. And now he's cooling off because the doctor's in there talking to him. Now, Dana White said the doctor was talking to him for 10 minutes. It wasn't. The doctor talked to him for 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
But 2 minutes makes a difference whenever you're high-class athlete and you can recover in 60 seconds or less.
Not in this case, because he got knocked out.
Not in this case. Not in this case. Not in this case. So you're not that high class.
Yeah, yeah. Bronson really went into him, and it was just like boop boop, he's over, and they were like, okay, it's over.
Yeah.
So who do we blame in this? Do we blame the Predator, Herb Dean, or do we blame the doctor in this? Because I'm no longer just gonna call him Herb Dean. I'm calling him the Predator Dean, because that was his MMA fight nickname, and apparently he still got an itch somewhere that's like beat him. Okay,
so I'm gonna tell you like this. It's not Herb Dean's fault. Herb Dean actually did the right thing in this case. If anything, it's the doctor and it's the corner. Like, I'm always going to go back to the corner.
Okay.
They should have known that their fighter was glassy-eyed sitting on the corner. I mean, on the stool. And when the doctor came in there, you could tell that the guy didn't have his heart in it. And I think it was Dominic Cruz who was saying, you can see by the way that he's moving around the ring that he's done. This fighter is done. And so Brunson came in there and went for a takedown, and Shahbazyan just basically laid down on the ground. And you could see the moment when Herb Dean knew that that the fight was over, is because when Derek Brunson took him to the ground, his hands were on the ground. I'm trying to get
like that,
camera, like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, this guy's not fighting back. So Herb Dean called the fight off. And it goes down as a TKO in round 3 for Derek Brunson, 26 seconds.
So let's talk about this, about that corner, because the coach is controversial, dude. All right. Mm-hmm. Coach Edmond, there comes a point where we have to really look at him and be like, dude, how are you still doing this? Okay, you are a danger to fighters. Even fighters know that you're a danger to other fighters. Okay, why can't we do something about this guy? When are they going to start doing something about him and actually put some real penalties behind it?
I don't know. When he was coaching Ronda Rousey. He looked like a genius while she was winning. But then when we started listening in on the corner and what he was telling her, especially when she was losing fights on the feet, and he's telling her that she's doing a great job, that's when we knew.
Yeah, that he was like, oh, wow, you suck. And, it's just like that. What's up?
What do you mean? He was like, oh, wow, you suck? What does that mean?
I'm thinking, oh, God, you suck. That's what I was meaning.
Yeah. Got you. Yes.
And it's just like that one dude that's the one guru that's training Diego Sanchez. I forgot his name, but
Joshua Fabia.
Yeah, that guy.
Fighters, I don't know. And this is where I'd love to have someone like Coach Carlos Morena, who's been on our show many times, or George, where we start talking about what do you look for in a coach? How do you know that you have a good coach, or if you have someone who is basically a snake oil salesman, or someone who talks a good game but doesn't have the good, doesn't have the skill set to get you to the next level. And this is one of those things where I think that, you know, for Shahbazyan, they got him some good tune-up fights to get his name out there and things like that. But he met a freight train, and it was rough. It was rough watching it.
Yeah, it was one of those brick wall situations. Either you're going over it or you're going to go through it, and he went through it and did not come out on the other side.
Well, there you have it. The last thing I want to say about this is Dana White says don't give up on Edmund Shahbazyan, so we're going to see more of him. Derek Brunson says he wants Darren Till. I like that fight. Derek Brunson versus Darren Till. I like that fight.
I like that. I want to see it. That actually looks good on paper.
All right. Let's go on to the next segment. The next segment is Finding the Angles. This is Finding the Angles. This is where we talk about the headlines that people are talking about around the MMA world. And in this case, we've got the first story is a great one. So everybody, you can't go a news cycle without talking about the notorious Conor McGregor. And so recently, Conor McGregor put out a tweet in Tagalog, which is the language of the Philippines, to Manny Pacquiao, saying that he accepts a fight against Manny Pacquiao. Now, of course, everybody wants to know what Dana White thinks, and Dana White says, I guarantee you that Conor McGregor is not fighting in the year 2020.
Hey, who knows Conor better than Dana?
Well, Dana gets kind of the right of first refusal. He still owns Conor's contract, and so if Conor is going to fight, it's going to have to go through Dana White. Dana White says, these guys keep asking me about Conor McGregor. You guys keep asking me about him, and I'm telling you, he's retired. This guy plays you like fiddles. You're like puppets on a stream. He's retired. He sends one tweet, and and it's right after. Remember, we were talking about that new and up and coming fighter, Khamzat Chimaira, or something like that.
Khabib.
Khabib, what you call Khabib, and he says, he's not focused on anyone who's not fighting. Conor McGregor is retired. He's like, nobody believes he's going to stay retired, but he's retired. And so until that status changes, he's retired. Mama name him Clay. I'm going to call him Clay.
My question is, has he pulled his name out of the blood pool?
Well,
that's my question.
That's the one thing that we know for a fact that hasn't happened, that it hasn't been announced. Because when a fighter pulls themselves out of the USADA testing pool, then they are retired. I haven't heard that Conor is out of the testing pool. I haven't heard that
Henry
Cejudo's out of the testing pool. So as far as I'm concerned, they're all still in. I think GSP may still be in the testing pool. I don't know for
sure.
He
actually did he? Yeah, he actually pulled himself out. Well, he actually did pull himself out.
He's got to get back in if he wants some of that Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, he does. And he'll have time to do it, trust me. But Dana has sat there and he has adamantly said, just like he's saying that Conor is retired, that Henry Cejudo is definitely retired. But that could be code for I'm not going to sweat my time with these two. Okay.
Well, it's not going to. That in order to get Conor McGregor back in the octagon, you're going to have to pay him an insane amount of money. And the fact is that Conor McGregor doesn't need any money. The fight that he had with Floyd Mayweather netted him about $100 million.
Right.
Every fight that he has in the UFC, it brings him something like $13 or $14 million. And it has recently been estimated that his whiskey empire, the Proper 12 Irish whiskey, is worth about 200 million euros. That is $234 million. Bro, the dude doesn't need any money.
No, you don't need no money. But, and from what I've heard, I've heard mixed reviews, but for the most part, it's been generally positive. People say that the whiskey is good. I'm not a whiskey drinker. I don't drink that Irish swill. I drink bourbon. Okay, good old Good old Kentucky bourbon.
That's the only kind of bourbon you can have
Exactly.
because it's Kentucky.
Remember that. Remember that, because there are people that are sitting there saying that there's Tennessee bourbon, and I want to reach out and touch them. I mean, really, yeah, bourbon, it can only be made in Kentucky. Whiskey can be made everywhere else. Scotch can only be made in Scotland. They're all the same family. It's just the process and region in which they're made is makes the difference.
There you go.
This has been your alcoholic moment.
No, you got it.
Alcoholic awareness
You
moment.
you got to do it. You know, Kalechi is not
This
here, so we're gonna do it instead. This has been your cultural awareness moment.
I can't do that. I'll start laughing.
No, do it. Do it. Do it.
This has been your cultural awareness moment.
There you go, Kalechi. That was for you.
Missing you. All right. So, but yeah.
So Conor McGregor doesn't need to fight.
No, if this point he's gonna fight, he's gonna fight for honor. And does he really want to do that? That's really his style?
We've got a celebrity in the audience tonight.
What?
Kalechi said, "How dare you?" He's watching.
He's
watching
again?
the show. He is playing hooky again. Come on now, playing hooky.
Hey,
there you go.
Shooting hooky. All right.
All right. So Tyron Woodley. Speaking of Kalechi, Tyron Woodley. you know he is the biggest Tyron Woodley fan. He is. Why? Because Tyron Woodley is from St. Louis, Missouri. Kalechi also went to college in Missouri and has a strong affinity for the Show Me State. And so Tyron Woodley is back in the news because he recently said that September, October timeframe, he is going to go into the octagon with Colby Chaos Covington. What?
I'll believe when I see it.
They say it's close. He's saying it is close to being signed.
You know, they say meteors come close to Earth all the time. Okay.
Yeah, and it's still like so far away, like not even close. That's like saying me and you are close to each other recording, and we're on the opposite sides of the city.
Exactly. So okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, I want to see this fight. I need to see this fight. I need it. Okay, because there's been two people that have been needing to fight each other for the longest, and it's these two. However, one always ducks. Kobe says that Tyron ducks. Tyron says that Kobe ducks. I just want them to be in the same town. They don't even have to be at a ring, a restaurant, in the back alley, in a parking lot, at Macy's, at Target, Walmart, like everybody else fights. That's usually a good fight location is in Walmart. Usually like right in front of the green stand as you come in, where the McDonald's is at. That area right there is like a perfect fight zone. Just get them in there. Just get them close enough to start swinging. That's all I ask.
Well, you know, this is the thing, is Tyron Woodley is saying that this is the biggest fight of his career. And this isn't an understatement. This is actually the biggest fight of his career, because having lost the title to Kamaru Usman and then coming back and losing against, in dominant fashion, losing against Gilbert Burns, 3 strikes and you're out. And you know Dana White is licking his chops to see Tyron Woodley lose 3 in a row. I don't know that Tyron Woodley could survive.
So you're saying that this could be an assassination attempt per se?
It could be win or go home kind of thing. Definitely,
because we've seen Dana do this before. Dana has sent people to get assassinated. All right, he sent Lyoto Machida at his height to go after Tito Ortiz. All right, he sent Brock Lesnar to go after Randy Couture. All right, just so you know. All right, just to assassinate. So this is not far fetched.
Right? So we're going from the fact that you thought this was a meteor's distance to Earth close to now you're like, oh, this could be an assassination attempt.
I'm just saying. Okay, if this was to happen, it would happen as an assassination. Yeah, drink up, people. All right, drink up.
So here we go. If this does actually get signed, Tyron Woodley says that Colby Covington is likely going to rely on racism and personal attacks to hype up the fight. So for us, and that's one of the big complaints that we have up against Colby Covington, because we know it's an act. We know that this guy has to do it in order to stay relevant. But it's coming at such a divisive time in our society that I don't know that there's any benefit to playing this Colby Covington MAGA act this the close of the year against Tyron Woodley. It just seems irresponsible to do.
Unless you're trying to retire after this fight. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, when you say this is the biggest fight of your life, this seems like it's a code for I don't once I deal with this, I'm probably not going to deal with fighting anymore. And this
It's
could
lose or go
possibly be
home.
the case.
It's lose or
It
go home for him.
is.
His
It
back
really
is
is.
against
But
the wall.
and I think the backs against both of their, for both of them. So we'll see. I think Tyron will pull this off because there's a lot of heat between those two. Legitimate heat. It's like you've been wanting to beat on somebody you want to anger beat on somebody for so long,
Right.
and you finally get your chance to get it. He's not gonna blow it. He's gonna beat the brakes off of him.
Well, so that's not what Kelechi's saying. Kelechi's saying that Woodley's too defensive a fighter. To beat Colby Covington, you need a strong offense.
I think that might change in that fight. I think he might change up his strategy.
We'll see.
Because you can't be defensive with a guy like Covington. All right, Covington has shown that he throws punches in bunches, of bunches, and he has a serious gas tank. So I don't think that would be the right time to be defensive. I think he needs to go in there and start off with the molly whop and get it going.
All right. Last one from Kelechi. He says Tyron can only win with wrestle. Tyron can only win the wrestling, and it's like I don't think so. I think Colby win. I think Colby at the very least neutralizes the wrestling. I don't think Tyron Woodley is a lot like Rampage Jackson in the fact that he is a wrestler. He could wrestle if he wanted to. Tyron Woodley probably should wrestle, but he wants to strike.
But you can't strike with a one punch unless you're Francis Ngannou.
But listen to that analogy though. Rampage Jackson is a wrestler. His greatest highlight is a body slam that he did to win a fight.
It was not a body slam. It was a power bomb.
Okay, it was a power bomb.
And the fighter, and the poor fighter that got squished was Richard Arona. That was back in the Pride days. I think it was like Pride 93. Anyway.
Yeah, but that was when Rampage was a wrestler. And when Rampage was a wrestler, Rampage was much more dangerous because you had to worry about the takedown. You had to worry that he's going to change levels. So when he faked the takedown and he changed levels and your hands dropped, that left your chin wide open. But nobody's worried about Tyron Woodley trying to take you down. That's just not something that he's done in his last few fights. And in so much as he hasn't done that, because he's always looking for that one strike, what that does is that puts someone like Colby Covington, who wants to take you down, who wants to outwork you, who wants to blow your heart up with cardio, and then beat you up and knock you out. That's not a good recipe for Tyron Woodley. And I just don't see how he's going to do what he's always done to win that fight. So I'm not making any picks. The fight has not been booked. I'm not going to declare anything. But I'm saying that Colby Covington represents different types of problems that already Tyron Woodley has not shown the ability to be able to address. So if he's going to solve that challenge, if he's going to figure out the puzzle, to use your words, he's going to have to do a whole lot of new type of training to get ready for that fight.
I agree. I totally agree.
So when we start talking about someone who is looking to retire, you got to talk about Daniel DC Cormier, because he's got a fight coming up.
Okay, so just for the record, It was not I that brought it up this week. It is Ryan.
Well, we have to, because Dana White says he's got no plans to strip John Jones of his UFC light heavyweight title, and Daniel Cormier is talking about John Jones, saying that they'll never be friends, but they admit that they have a mutual respect for each other.
You know,
Go ahead. I know I'm gonna give you the floor.
Okay, so you could often change that out with, me and her, we had a great relationship and we'll never be friends, but we have mutual respect for each other. That's exactly what I heard. Okay. Uh, I mean, these two have fought in the ring, oh God, for what, over 40 minutes with each other? These guys they have to respect each other's ability. They don't have to like each other, but you gotta respect somebody that is willing to go to the ground and fight you like that. That you got to.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the thing is that that's the thing. People want them not to respect each other as athletes, and it's like that's impossible.
Yeah.
I don't respect. I don't. He doesn't have to respect John Jones as a man. As that like a. He doesn't have to respect his. All the stuff that John Jones has done to get in trouble, all kind of stuff. That is worthy of some level of disrespect. But when the octagon door closes,
yeah, that's respect. That's
that you
mutual
have
respect.
to respect, because the stats don't lie, the numbers don't lie, right?
Mhm.
When you're considered one of the greatest fighters in the world, and you've swung and missed twice and was made to look silly in the second one, what are you gonna say? You're gonna have to put some respect on that name.
I don't think anybody was made to look silly. I think there was some.
The second one, the head kick. Let's review. In the pre-fight, leading up to the fight, John Jones said to Daniel Cormier, because they asked, well, what have you seen on Daniel Cormier? And John Jones said, well, I see some things that he needs to work on because we can easily exploit them. Daniel Cormier says, what? You mean the way that I lean to the right? And, when someone throws a left, I lean to the right out of the way. You mean that, John? Trust me, I'm going to fix that. And sure enough, in that second fight, John Jones threw the left, Daniel Cormier leaned to the right, and he came back with the head kick. That made him look stupid.
Okay.
That's why you had this. And so for the folks who are just listening at home, you need to come and watch this part, 48 minutes in the show. You got to come on YouTube so you can see me do this. That's that Daniel Cormier.
That's not even right.
That's the Daniel Cormier right there. That Daniel Cormier lip.
No. Man, you can't do that, man. That's disrespectful. Okay, that is disrespectful.
So you can't say that John Jones didn't make him look silly. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think
that is the reason why. That is the reason why I have this poster on my wall. This one right here. You see it? What is that?
Yeah.
Cormier, Jones. What number?
2.
See, that's it. That's why it's on my wall.
All I'm gonna say is that there's gonna be a part 3. I do believe that there's gonna be a part 3. There's gonna be a part 3. There's gonna be a part 3. Don't. I'm telling you, people. Mark my words. Everything is lining up for a part 3.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, because with the news that John Jones is wanting to jump up wants his next fight to be at heavyweight, Daniel Cormier is going to beat Stipe, and he's going to say, "I got one more fight in me." Okay, I can't say when. If Daniel Cormier beats Stipe and retains the title, he's gonna say, "I got one more fight in me." He's not going to retire, and John Jones will not resist. He will make it a point to go heavyweight because, like he has stated before, he doesn't just want to beat Daniel Cormier. He wants to destroy him. He destroyed him at light heavyweight. He wants to destroy him at heavyweight. Okay, he has stated that.
In the words of Kelechi Onyebuchi, who has messaged us on this topic. He is saying, I got to use Kelechi's voice. Hold on. Let the story die. Let that story die. See, that's why you got to come on the show, Kelechi, because I could do this all day. All day.
Oh my goodness!
All right. Daniel Cormier says that he prefers the Stipe Miocic rivalry because Stipe has always fought clean and stood for the right things. So he's saying, the digs are still happening. So I think that it's fair to say that Daniel Cormier doesn't respect him as a man, but he respects him as an athlete.
Bad love affair, dude. I'm telling you.
Kevin Holland. I was hoping that we would have George by now, but George must still be tied up at work, beating up students, getting them ready for the real world.
Man, rise up off of him, George. Rise up off of him.
Mercy, man. Uncle, come on, bro.
Man, let him slide, man. Let him slide. He didn't throw the kick right.
Hammer, don't hurt him. Please, Hammer, don't hurt him.
He's gonna find us. He's gonna find us.
I was gonna say, look, he lives closer to you, but he doesn't. He literally lives down the street from me. It's a straight shot too.
Yeah, it's don't be jogging this week.
I'm not going outside. It's COVID. I'm staying inside. Look, COVID could be over. They could have virus. They could have a vaccine, and I'm still staying in the house.
I ain't going out there.
You want some of this, old man? No. Kevin Holland has someone who wants to punch him in the face. That person is Ed Herman. This is what I was talking about at the top of the show. That Kevin Holland was supposed to fight. His opponent passed out, and so they were they were looking at that's what's crazy. Holland was initially scheduled to compete last weekend, but his opponent Trevin Giles fainted just before the fighters were scheduled to walk to the octagon.
Yeah, literally they went to the commercial break saying, "All right, we're getting ready for the next fight," and then they came back like, "Look, just moments ago, Giles just fainted right there at the ramp coming out, so the fight's called off. Sorry."
So they tried to get Ed Herman on the phone to fight, and this is what's funny because he is hopping mad. He is hopping mad because they offered him $10,000 for his fight. He didn't get show money. He just got, here's $10,000. We need to reschedule your fight. And so he was upset about that because in the past they had given show money if your fight got canceled because you made weight, you showed, your opponent didn't, so therefore you get show money. But because of the fact that COVID-19 has been so detrimental, so impactful to the UFC and their bottom line, because remember, all of these fights are without gate money. So they're dropping probably $25-30 million in just ticket sales that they're not making. And so they're probably on some type of restricted budget, trying not to pay fighters as much as not be as generous as they'd been in the past to keep themselves solvent, keep the money coming in, keep the the bottom line clean because the parent company is hurting so badly. So they only offered $10,000 to Ed Herman. And so when Ed Herman heard what Kevin Holland said about the fact that he was, that he was going to, that he would have fought Ed Herman, Ed Herman was like, where is it? What, let's fight. And it's like, no, Holland's already got a fight scheduled in Vegas, the following week, this weekend, which we'll pick. We'll make picks for those fights. But here's what happened to Ed Herman. When Ed Herman found out that his opponent came down, tested positive for COVID-19, okay, Ed Herman was like, well, that sucks. I might as well just go to the pool, get drunk. So he goes, has a couple of margaritas at the pool, turns his phone off. Trevin Giles passes out at the ramp. The UFC starts calling his hotel because I believe the dude's already made weight. He's already there. So they're like, do you want to fight? Do you want to fight? Do you want to fight? So they're calling. No answer because his phone is off. A few hours later, he looks at his phone, sees that they had been calling him, calls back, says, yes, I'll fight. They're like, can you fight? He says, yeah, I've had a couple of margaritas, but I'm still ready to get in it. and they're like, dude, we can't
No.
put you in the ring. Are you crazy?
No, man, no.
So for those of you who don't know, you cannot fight intoxicated. You cannot fight under the influence. That is a safety hazard for you. Now, Herb Dean might let him fight, but in general,
Predator. The Predator. So he wasn't able to fight. They just dropped him an envelope with $10,000 cash or
Yeah.
what?
yeah, that's basically what they did. They gave him 10 grand and said, you'll have to reschedule you sometime. And I can understand how much it might piss him off, because think about it. Getting ready for these fights means that you've got to get gym time, you got to get coaching time, you got to get sparring partners. All of these people are doing this for money. And so
Yes.
eventually they are doing this to help you prepare for a fight, so that when you get your show money and perhaps win money and perhaps bonus money, you will pay them back for the time that they spent preparing you for the fight. If you lose, that's less money that you get to keep after you pay all these people. If you don't even get show money and you just get handed 10 grand, what are you going to do? Because you're going to have to get back in the gym. You have to start training again.
Yeah. Will 10 grand actually cover that camp?
No.
You know?
Not
No.
at this level. I don't think so. When you get to be at the UFC level, you're in order to stay competitive, you're going to have to go to some pretty great camps. So you're just going to hit the ceiling, and you won't be able to
Right.
progress, past the bottom half of the top 10.
Yeah. I hear that.
So, unless you're the only star in the entire gym and you've got people who are solely dedicated to you, you have to go to these bigger gyms where they've got a wide variety of coaches that specialize in all of these different arts, or you're going around, hopping around gym to gym, trying to find the best one. And this is what Coach Moreno talked about, right? That, to be a competitive MMA fighter, you've got to have all of these specialties. And there's just not one person that can that has all of that knowledge at the level you need it to be competitive in the UFC, and really anywhere in the professional mixed martial arts. In professional mixed martial arts. Talking about training camps, I'm you know what? Because I was teasing him about the pitch of his voice, Kalechi is promoting Factory X, of course. So those of you who are playing the drinking game, there you go. You got your Factory X reference, as a gym that you can go to if you want all types of MMA training. Speaking of camps, Dana White says he's going to visit a camp. Do you know what camp he's going to go visit?
Who you gonna visit?
Iron Mike Tyson.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna do it because Iron Mike could kill me. Oh, no,
Yep.
not could. He would kill me. Okay, that I'm not about to go about that life. That's cool. You know, there's nothing bad to say about that. That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, so we know that Dana White and Mike Tyson are really good friends, and so it makes sense that Dana White would go out and support his friend as he's getting ready to get back into the ring. The thing that I once again, like, the number of references that I have to wishing that George was here, increments by one at this point, because we had talked about the fact that Mike Tyson and Roy Jones said that they're going to go full speed. That this is going to be a competitive fight, even though it's listed as an exhibition, that they are not going to treat it as such. The California State Athletic Commission Executive Director, Andy Foster, told BoxingScene.com, and this is quoting from MMA Fighting, that they can get into it a little bit, but I don't want to see people get hurt. They know the deal. We can't mislead the public as to this is some kind of real fight. This is not a real fight, folks.
Okay.
He says it's an exhibition. They can exhibit their boxing skills, but I don't want them using their best efforts to hurt each other. They're going to spar hard, but they shouldn't be going for a knockout. This is the California State Athletic Commission.
Do they have headgear on?
No, they do not.
And you expect them to spar?
Well, that's the thing is you're correct. If they had headgear on, if they're wearing the 16-ounce gloves, then yes, it should be a sparring session. But they're not wearing the 8-ounce. They're wearing the 10-ounce, I believe, and they're no headgear.
Okay.
I'm just saying, we've got two different messages. We got the message from the fighters saying they're going all out. You got the message from the commission saying they better not.
What's the commission going to do if they go all out? They're going to suspend them?
Stop the fight. They'll call the fight off. The referee has been instructed that if they start headhunting, to end the fight, to call the fight off.
I guarantee there's an envelope of money that's gonna say he don't do that. That he's like, oh, they're just friendly sparring. That's all they're doing. And I think that it's gonna be if you throw raw meat into a tiger cage, do not expect the tiger to play with it. Okay, he's going to devour it. And if you give these fighters all the tools that they need, 10-ounce gloves, no headgear, and a stern talking to, y'all better not do this. That is just like, okay, so here I go with my commentary. That's just like saying that these kids going back to school are gonna be nice and abide by the rule. I guarantee you let them kids go back to school. What makes you think that they're not going to lick their hands, cough on it, and run around trying to touch each other talking about they got the COVID?
This took an unexpected turn.
I know. That's why I say, here I go. So, no, you don't give you do not give boxers, two killer boxers, 10-ounce gloves and no headgear and expect them to just spar hard. I don't even believe that.
Well, we just don't want any evidence of CTE because we know what happens when CTE reigns supreme in the head of a fighter. And that brings us up to Mike Perry, who recently got arrested for causing a ruckus at a Texas restaurant.
Didn't know it was Texas.
I think it was in Texas.
It was in Texas.
And he punched a couple of people. Had to get, police had to be called. He finally issued an apology, promises to be a better role model for his unborn son. He says, I want to be a better role model for my family, for my unborn son, my queen, and for myself so that I can earn the respect I deserve. To my sponsors and my bosses at the UFC, I want to apologize for how my actions have impacted our relationships. I will be better all around. Don't know what hashtag OSS means.
OS.
I don't believe it. I don't think that he has the impulse control anymore. I don't believe that he can stop himself from doing the things that he's doing. That there's some wiring that has been eaten through by the little brain mice that that's got him wired a bit differently now. That's got his fuse a bit shorter now. And I just don't think that that's something that he's going to be able to retain.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I know friends. I have college friends that were wild out of control. But when they started having kids and they started having a family, they became a different animal. Okay, they became a different person. They became respectable. They became, a father figure. And I can totally see Mike Perry because he reminds me of a lot of my college friends. Okay, that did do that. So yeah, I'll give him a chance. I think if they can't do it on their own, they need a focusing tool. And focusing tool could be your family. Okay, if you can't do right by yourself, find somebody to do right by.
The wise words. I think that's great. Last thing to talk about is the fight card, the fight this weekend, and that is the fight card. This is the fight card. This is where we look at the fights that are planned for Saturday night, and we've got another great card. This is UFC Vegas 6. Lewis, this is Derek the Black Beast Lewis, versus Alexei Oleinik. This is Saturday, August 8th, 2020 at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. We've got 5 fights on the card. Fight number 1 is Beneil Dariush versus Scott Holtzman. Of course, we know Beneil Dariush because he comes walking out to the most odd songs. Not fight songs, really. They're more like worship songs. But anyway, you've got Yana Kunitskaya versus Julia Stoliarenko. Now, that's pretty good, huh? Here's the thing. In April 2020, Yana Kunitskaya posted something to Twitter that says, a lot of people asking me when my next fight is. I think I need to take some time off. Boy or girl? So I think you may be on mute, Mr. Keys. He was on mute.
I was on mute. What was that supposed to mean?
It means she's pregnant. And now that was April. This would be 4 months. 4 months. Yeah.
Nah, bruh. Wait a minute. Was she like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months pregnant then?
Mm-hmm.
No, bruh.
So I'm messing with you. It turns out that was an April Fool's joke because April 2020, when she posted it, it was actually April 1st.
April
1st, I just want to see your reaction when you were like, wait a minute, that means she's 4 months pregnant. She gonna start showing. Do we need to see this?
I'm going to omit any type of commentary that I was gonna have for that because I want us to have a show next week and not us get caught up with the cancel culture, but because I talk crazy.
Yeah. Save the crazy talk for the after.
For at the day. So yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, good.
So Maki Pitolo versus Darren Stewart. I like Darren Stewart in that fight. Omari Akhmedov versus the All-American Chris Weidman in the co-main event. And then Derek the Black Beast Lewis versus Alexei Oleinik in the main event of the evening. We're going to pick the co-main and the main as we are wont to do. So who do you have in the Omari Akhmedov versus
Omari?
You didn't even let me finish.
Omari. Good luck, Omari. I got you, Akhmedov. Yeah, man. All right. Get it going. Next.
While my heart wants me to pick Chris Weidman because I don't hate Chris Weidman like you do. I just don't think he has it anymore. I really don't.
He does.
I think he's fallen off the wagon. I think he needs to start looking at, calling it a career.
Training.
And so I'm going with Akhmedov as well. In the main event of the evening, you got Derek Lewis versus Alexei Oleinik. Who do you have?
Man, I'm about to stay with the home state native. I'm going with Derek. Hopefully, Derek is getting better and better with each match. Okay, I'm seeing that. So I'm rooting for my boy, not because he's an H-Town native, but I'm rooting for my boy because I really am impressed with the progress that he's making as a fighter. He is a fighter, and he's even on screen, off screen, he's still the same person. Just when he's in the ring, he's beating on people because that's what he's paid to do, beat on people. Out of the ring, he's still a good guy. So good luck.
I'm going to tell you like this. I would like to see Derek Lewis win. If Derek Lewis wins, I'm happy for him. But rule number 1, y'all. Rule number 1. You got to go with rule number 1. Never bet against the Russians. You're looking at Alexei Oleinik. This dude has more fights than a Texas Roadhouse in the middle of summer.
Oh, come on, really? Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing now? Oh my goodness.
And almost all of them are submissions. Now, a few fights ago, Derek Lewis fought another fighter who was a big wrestler and big submission guy, and the guy held him down, and Derek Lewis wasn't able to generate a lot of offense. So I honestly think that Alexei Oleinik is going to get this fight to the ground. He's going to find a way to submit Derek Lewis. So I got Alexei Oleinik by submission, but I'm rooting for Derek Lewis anyway.
Yeah, I'm looking at his fight record. Oh my God.
I told you, Oleinik has.
He's old school. He is seriously old school.
He's a lot of fights.
Yeah.
And look at how many submissions that he's got. Are you looking on SureDog?
I'm looking at a wiki. Believe it or not, 46 submissions.
46 submissions.
That means he is going. Oh, okay. And I see why. Guess where he trained? Red Devil Sports Club. Okay, for those who don't understand Red Devil Sports Club, there are two other fighters that came out of there that are monsters. Okay, one was Gregor Mousasi, okay, the dream catcher, and the other one was his teacher, Fedor Emelianenko.
Well, there you have it.
And that equates to killers. The Red
You gonna change your pick?
Sports Club. No. I'm still going with Derek. I'm still going there. Even though he is literally facing his toughest test ever in his career.
Wait,
good luck.
Wait, you mean Daniel Cormier was not Derek Lewis' toughest test?
When Daniel Cormier has 73 fights underneath his belt, then we'll call it his toughest test. We're talking about 73 fights. That dude was fighting in the old school. He was fighting in the UFC
He
1
helped
era.
build the old school.
Yes, he actually built it and then turned around and walked in it. Okay, so yeah, I'm not messing. I mean, Daniel Cormier was here. Alexei is right here. Okay, all right. Nothing against DC. DC, I'm pretty sure you would agree with me. Okay.
All I gotta say is Alexei Oleinik is the 13-year-old sitting in 5th grade in the back of the class.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Follow us on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm at Combat Sports Talk.
And I am at Keys to Victory, and that's Keys with an ES.
I want to say that I've talked to George, and George is going to be changing his handle to Dark Side Muay Thai. So if you're gonna follow George G Money Stallworth, follow Dark Side Muay Thai on Instagram and all of the social media that you want to follow George on. You can find us on our website at www.combatsportstalk.com. All of your favorite podcasting platforms, which they are right above my head. You can find us all of these places. Last story that I want to share with you, Mr. Keys, before we go. There's a listener out there, and his name is Mike Orrick.
Hey,
Let me tell you about Mike. Shout out to Mike. A few weeks ago, I'm talking to Kalechi, and I told him, I said, I'm really tired. We're 133 episodes in. I haven't posted the audio only file to our RSS feed in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I was like, it's like I'm just tired. I don't even think anybody really listens. And I'm talking to Kalechi about this. Okay? While we're talking, my phone buzzes. I look down at my phone. The email that's on top of the list is from a gentleman by the name of Mike Orrick. And Mike sent me a note saying, hey, I noticed that in the last 2 weeks, you guys haven't posted your audio. You guys still podcasting?
Wow.
So I don't know what the timing is. I don't know what to say about it. But surprise! We're at the end of the show. We have George G Money Stallworth. He is here. Look at that. There you go. Look at him. We're here now. I'm trying to set the thing. So I just want to say shout out to Mike, because you definitely gave me a whole whole new lease on life. Kalechi's in the audience tonight. He said, "Won't he do it?" Won't he do it?
Sounds like a conversation I had with you yesterday. Won't he do it?
It was. So in honor of that, I sent Mr. Orrick a Combat Sports Talk shirt, and just let him know that
you deserve it.
You deserve it, my friend.
You deserve it.
Thank you so much.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. Did Kalechi actually join us?
No,
I
he's
think
not.
Okay. All right. My bad, people. Anyway.
All right. That's all for the show.
You know, it was Dana White's birthday a couple days ago, as a matter of fact. That's what I thought.
He's trying to come in. Look at him. Sneaking in there. There you go.
I mean, if Coach can do it.
I mean, he came in with
I took all this
blazer
abuse for no reason. I could have jumped in earlier.
Yeah, we did all kinds of stuff to collect you tonight. We
for real.
I teased
Hey, you're looking kind of dapper over there, young man.
I know.
What color is that?
That's my personal brand.
Is that fuchsia?
Oh, come on, Coach.
Dude, you out on Tinder? You out on Tinder dates tonight? What's going on over there?
Don't do that. Don't do it.
No.
Bruh, we talked about this.
This is still live. We trying to wrap up the show, and now y'all cutting up like this is the beginning of the show.
Hey,
what's important is that we get back
after the bell.
Okay, so it looks like we got time. It looks like it's gonna be an after the bell show.
Okay, well, listen.
But first, Matt.
Let's go ahead and wrap up this show. How about that?
All right.
Can we do that?
All right, fair enough.
Shout out to MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting, MMA Mania, Bloody Elbow, and the Intelligent Defense Discussion Group, and all the other sites providing us the content that we're on the show. Hey, I am trying to get Intelligent Defense Discussion Group T-shirts made, by the way.
Okay.
So
right.
we may
intelligent.
we may have an Intelligent Defense T-shirt to wear. So on behalf of the newly arrived George G Money Stallworth, Kalechi KC Onyebuchi, and the guy who's ridden on this ride since the start of the show, John the Keys to Victory Keys. My name is Ryan Smith, reminding you to keep your hands up, your chin tucked, and throw bombs. We'll catch you next time.